So, I'm not an expert in automatic transmissions or gearboxes, but then this question will always be coming up every once in a while. So, I decided let me do a video on this and point out what the book says. And from my experience so far with these Peugeot vehicles with automatic transmissions, um, the observation from users that follow what the book says and how these gearboxes have served them well with what the book says. I'm talking about the oil manufacturers and the rest when it comes to or the transmission manufacturers. So, so I'm going to show you guys the quantity, specifically or more importantly, the service fail for these automatic gearboxes. Not all automatic gearboxes in Peugeot vehicles, but at least some or most of the ones you find um, in this modern Peugeot vehicles. So the service fail, by this I mean the quantity it takes to do just a normal service. So I'm not talking about the entire quantity the gearbox takes if it's complete, or what we consider dry fail. Dry fail is when the gearbox is completely empty with the torque converter. So, but when you are doing a service, one service, you could do up to 3 services to change the ATF properly, but a service is a service, one oil change. So that's what we are looking at. But I'll still mention the dry fill for those who probably maybe they take out their gearbox, separate it from the engine, drain the ATF, drain the one in the torque converter, and decide to fill up. At least you have idea what the recommended quantity that the gearbox is supposed to take. Okay, so moving on. So this is AL4. So the AL4 service fill is between 4 to 4.5 liters. So the 4 liters might be enough, but at least maximum of 4.5 liters for one service. So the dry fill is about 5 liters. This is what the book says for the dry fill. So if you are doing, there's an exception to the service fill. Or I won't call it, okay, not an exception, but there's a condition attached to this service fill quantities of all of these automatic transmissions. So I'm going to talk about it at the end when I'm done with listing out all these the quantity, recommended quantity for these gearboxes. So there's a condition attached to it. So for AL4 is the 4-speed automatic you find a number of Peugeot vehicles produced from the late 90s till up to 2010 and beyond, I think. I can't remember when they stopped using AL4, so there are so many of them, so it depends on your vehicle. Anyway, we're not here to talk about which vehicle that have AL4 here. So so that is it. Now you can see it, 4 liters to 4.5. The only way to know which exactly quantity is to gauge it, we'll talk about it later, but at least you know what it takes. And followed by 88 automatic transmission. Mostly find like in Peugeot 408, 301, the rest, and some other ones. So the service fill is 3 liters. You can see the dry fill is 6 liters. So moving on, the ZF 4HP20. Okay, so you find this one most Peugeot V6 engine from the late 90s, right? 2099. So, okay, like I said, I'm not here to discuss the year they started using this thing. It's going to take a while to mention all the cars that have them. So for 4HP20, 3 liters against what most people use. Some go beyond 6 or 7 liters for a service. So, but at least the drive fuel is about 8 liters maximum. The service 3 liters. So, then the AMCs. This is a 6-speed automatic gearbox. Mostly in V6 Peugeot vehicle, not all V6 anyway. But you find it mostly in V6 produced from 2004 to about not just V6. There are some 4-cylinder engine you find AMCs. Okay, so now service fill between 3 to 4 liters. So the only way to find out which one that gauge yours is when you gauge, which one that fills it to the normal level is when you gauge it. But no matter what, it won't be less than 3 liters and it will be more than 4 liters for you to gauge. So it's between 3 to 4. So if you are doing service, I highly recommend you buy up to 4 liters and then put 3 or maybe 3.5 and then gauge it. Dry fill is 7 liters for AMCs. Now ATCs is also a 6-speed automatic transmission that proceeds succeeded the AMCs. So service fill is 3 liters. You find this one mostly in Peugeot cars from the late 2000s, like 2007 upward, I think. Mostly in THP engines and the rest. It's not all, but so dry fill 7 liters, service fill 3 liters, ATC 3. And I also find this in some 508, usually the late W2, like the ones you find in 2014 upward. But some most have, I think, a EAT6. But mostly you just know that you find this even 301. There are some models in 301 that have 86 3. So this 86 3, the service fill is between 3 to 4 liters, while the dry fill is 7 liters. So for now, these are the ones I was able to write down. At least they are more common. In fact, these are the ones that you likely will need to do service. The other ones like the EAT6, EAT8 probably might still, the mileage might still be very low because these are, you find them mostly newer one, most recent ones. So these are the mostly from the 90s to 20s, thereabouts, up to 2014. That's where I find all these 6 gearboxes I mentioned. Now, these are the conditions attached, or in fact, the main condition attached to the service field is it may exceed the quantities you find on this screen that I just showed you. It may exceed these quantities. If at the point of doing the service, maybe there was a leakage, the ATF has leaked out, some have leaked out. So in that case, it won't be enough anymore. That's what I mean is if you pour 3 liters, it may not be enough. Remember, there should be some in the torque converter. So if you pour 3 liters, if the one in the torque converter is less, some of them are going to move to the torque converter, and so it won't be enough in the gearbox. So that's why I say no matter what you do, you must gauge it. You need to gauge. There is a way to gauge these gearboxes, the ATF, the quantity in them to know if they are good enough or if they are enough for the gearbox. So if you don't gauge it and you rely on just what the recommended quantity from the manufacturer or oil manufacturer, you are likely going to may end up damaging your gearbox if it's too low. But another thing, I think that's the main condition attached to this service fee, so that you won't say, oh, because this is what the manufacturer said, you must stick to it. For example, your torque converter or a seal might fail and start leaking your ATF. So you won't expect that what will be in the gearbox will be the quantity. For example, this 86, that what you see will be there will be 7 liters. So if you decide to change the ATF, don't expect that 3 liters is all you need. So how will you now know what it will take? By gauging it. So buy more than 3 liters for this that is supposed to be for the service fee. Pour the first 3 liters, gauge it. If it doesn't up to gauge, top it up. Keep doing that until it gauges. That's the way you do it. Once you gauge the oil, it's a long. It's not something I'll talk about here. Basically, all of them are gauged almost the same way. So it's not want to waste time talking about that. Probably a different video. So it has to be gauged. So like I said, so not all these figures or quantities for these gearboxes. If you know yours. Now, if you don't know your own gearbox, that's a different ball game. If you have automatic gearbox, you need to find out the model of your gearbox. If you come to me for me to tell you, you have to pay for that consultancy service. I'm not going to tell you for you for free. My number is always attached on this video description or pinned in the comment section. My WhatsApp chat line, only chat line. Don't use for any other. So if you call, I won't pick your call. Send your WhatsApp message. I'll send you my conditions. When you pay, I will respond to it. So if you don't know your gearbox model, find out. You can find out elsewhere for free. You don't need to come to me for that. If you come to me for that, I will not give it to you for free unless you paid for full consultancy services. Then yes, I will give you your model, gearbox model number, or find out how, because you need to know your model for you to know the recommended quantity for your gearbox. One of the reasons these gearboxes do fail is because people overfill them. You'll be surprised that this 4HP20, I've been where mechanics will tell you, oh, it's supposed to take 7 liters just for a service. You're not talking about the ATF that is trapped inside the turbo, just to drain, and they fail. They don't do gauging, they just drain and drop. They tell you you're supposed to take up to 6 or 7 ATF just to do a service. So the one in the converter, let's assume is 4 liters that is there, or 5 or thereabout. Now you pour additional 7. So everything that is supposed to be 8 liters, both the one in torque converter and the one in the gearbox. So when you now pour 7 in the gearbox, how much liters do you think? So it means the gearbox will be excessively overgauged, overfilled, and you think it's not going to damage it? So these are the reasons why these gearboxes don't last once most people start changing their ATF, even with the recommended quantity, because they overgauge, they don't gauge these things, so they will overfill it and kill the gearbox. So you must gauge your ATF when you are doing the service to be sure that you are okay with that, and don't go beyond this. If you don't have it, your mechanic may tell you what I'm showing you on this screen is wrong, that this ATF is supposed to, these figures are supposed to be higher. They will tell you every reasons in this world why all the ones they've been doing takes more than this. But you are the one that eventually will go back for gearbox replacement, because to them it's normal for these gearboxes to fail. So they won't link it to the ATF they put for you. They insisted that you must put excessive quantity in this gearbox. So be warned. Now you know what quantity that is recommended for the automatic gearbox in your Peugeot car. It's not, it's not all of them that I listed out, but at least these are majority of the ones